Ever feel like your old gym routine isn't quite hitting the mark anymore? Like maybe you're down on that get up and go energy.
Yeah, we hear that.
We've been looking into Testofuel, this supplement claiming to like rewind the clock on those dragging energy levels. Figured we'd break it all down, for everyone listening.
Definitely. We're going deep on Testofuel today, the science behind it, the marketing, the whole 9 yards. Want to see if it lives up to all the hype.
Right on. So testosterone, it's a big deal. We all know that. But what's the deal as we get older? What actually happens?
Well, after 30, our bodies, they naturally start producing less testosterone every year. It's just a natural decline.
Okay, so it's like it's not just in our heads, it's a real thing.
Oh, yeah, it's a real thing. And that's who Testofuel is targeting, guys experiencing this or those dealing with, nutrient deficiencies that can mess with your testosterone.
Makes sense. Trying to give guys back that edge, right?
Exactly.
But what's in this stuff that's supposed to do that?
Think of it like, almost like a vitamin boost, but geared towards your hormones. So we're talking zinc, vitamin D, magnesium, even oyster extract.
Oyster extract, that's a new one.
It's like they made a smoothie, but for your hormones.
Now, a hormone smoothie, I'm intrigued. But how do we know if this stuff actually works? That's the million-dollar question.
That's where it gets interesting. Some ingredients like boron, vitamin D, they've shown promise, especially for men who are deficient. But the research on Testofuel itself, it's kind of mixed.
Mixed, huh? Like good and bad.
Yeah, exactly. Many of the studies are, well, they're pretty small. Need more research before we can say for sure. And to make things even more complicated, Testofuel, they've changed their formula over time and not always been super clear about it.
Wait, hold on. They changed the formula. That's like changing the recipe in the middle of a meal.
Yeah,
How are you supposed to know if it works if the ingredients keep changing?
that's a fair point. And it makes it tough to evaluate the research, right? Because the formula isn't consistent.
So a bit of a gamble then.
You could say that, yeah. Especially since they don't offer a money-back guarantee if you open the bottle.
Oh, wow. So you're stuck with it even if it doesn't work for you.
Pretty much.
Not ideal. Speaking of not ideal, what about safety? Is there anything to be concerned about?
For most healthy guys, it's considered safe, generally. But there's a lot of vitamin D in there, 4,000 IU. So if you're already taking supplements or you're out in the sun a lot, could be something to watch out for. Talk to your doctor about it for sure.
Right. Got to be careful with that. Too much of a good thing,
Exactly. And anyone with any medical condition, anything at all, talk to your doctor before even thinking about taking Testofuel. Or any supplement, really.
Solid advice. Better safe than sorry. Always. Okay, so we've got safety, but what about the cost? How much does this stuff actually cost?
It's kind of middle of the road for these supplements, around $65 for a month's supply. But, keep in mind, no refunds once you open the bottle.
Right, right. So while the price might seem okay, that no refund policy, got to factor that in, especially with all this uncertainty about how well it works, right?
Exactly. All important things to consider.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about the science, the safety, the cost. But before we move on to other options, give it to me straight. Bottom line, what's the deal with Testofuel?
It might help some men, particularly if they have certain deficiencies,
Right.
but it's not some miracle cure.
Right.
The fact that the formula changes and the research is limited, it's a gamble, honestly.
So Testofuel, maybe not the answer for everyone, but hey, don't worry, there are other options out there, and we're going to get into those right after this. So Testofuel, maybe not the magic bullet for everyone, but hey, good news is it's not the only option, right?
Exactly, yeah. There are other ways to, boost your testosterone if that's what you're looking for. Like, there are prescription medications.
Okay, like what?
Well, one that comes to mind is clomiphene.
Clomiphene. Wait, isn't that for something else?
Yeah, you're right. It's FDA approved for treating infertility in women,
Huh.
but studies have shown that it can also increase testosterone in men.
Interesting. So it's like a side benefit, I guess, for guys looking for that boost?
You could say that. Basically, what it does is it interacts with the brain and makes it think estrogen levels are high, which then signals the body to produce more testosterone.
So it's like tricking the body into making more testosterone. That's kind of wild.
Yeah, it's pretty clever. And the good news is clinical trials have shown really promising results. Seems to be effective, minimal side effects for most guys.
That's good to hear, especially after, that whole Testofuel gamble we were talking about. But before we get too excited, are there any downsides, anything to be cautious about?
Well, like with any medication, there are potential side effects. And clomiphene. There's one in particular that kind of makes people do a double take.
Let me guess. Something to do with twins.
Bingo! In women, one known side effect is, yeah, an increased chance of having twins.
Right, which I'm guessing isn't exactly top of mind for most guys looking at this. But
Yeah.
seriously, is that something men need to even think about?
Just to be clear, there's no evidence to suggest that that particular side effect applies to men taking clomiphene.
Okay, good to know. So for guys out there considering it, twins not part of the equation.
Yeah,
So how do you even get this stuff? Can you just like walk into a pharmacy and buy it?
not quite. You'll need a prescription from a doctor for clomiphene. They'll usually want to see some evidence of low testosterone, probably a couple blood tests, before they write you a prescription.
Right. So no like impulse buys on this one. Got to talk to the doc.
Exactly. And speaking of things you definitely want to talk to your doctor about and definitely don't want to try at home, let's talk about testosterone replacement therapy, or as it's more commonly known, TR.
TRT, yeah.
Yeah.
That's like the big leagues of testosterone, right?
In some ways, yeah, you could say that. TRT is very effective because you're basically directly introducing the hormone into your body.
Sounds like the most straightforward approach, but I mean, there's got to be a catch, right?
Well, the thing is, you got to remember TRT is serious medical treatment. And with that comes a whole bunch of potential risks. Some of them, frankly, pretty serious.
Okay, like what?
We're talking increased risk of heart problems, blood disorders, even stroke.
Whoa, okay. Those are some intense side effects. Definitely not something to mess around with.
You got it. It's really important to remember TRT should be a last resort, something you consider only after you've talked to your doctor, really thought about it, weighed the benefits and the risks.
Sounds like it's a powerful tool, and like any powerful tool, it needs to be used responsibly, carefully.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here. Testofuel, clomiphene, even dipped our toes into TRT. What's next? Where do we go from here? So we've gone through a lot, haven't we? Testofuel, clomiphene, even, touched on the whole TRT thing. A lot of info.
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. But it shows you there isn't one right answer when it comes to testosterone. What works for one guy might not do a thing for another. And there's always trade-offs, right?
Totally. It's
Right.
like trying to find a good suit. Got to find what fits you right. Your body, how you live your life. We've shown you the options, the supplements, the prescriptions, even the more, I guess, serious stuff like
No.
TRT. But in the end, whether you try any of this is up to you. Your call.
Absolutely. And it's a decision, really, you shouldn't make without talking to your doctor. They can tell you what makes sense for you, based on your situation, your medical history, all that.
Right. Got to loop in the professionals on this one. So to everyone listening, hope this has given you what you need to make good decisions about your health. Knowledge is power, after all.
It really is. We've looked at the science, the marketing, the good and the bad that can come with this stuff. And now, armed with that info, you can have a real conversation with your doctor.
Couldn't put it better myself. And on that note, this deep dive's got us thinking. But hey, that's the whole point, right?
Uh-huh.
So until next time, everybody, take care.